all for coming. I'm the Borough Historian. I'm Rod Lee, for those who don't know me. I'm going to introduce the mayor, and we'll get this ceremony started. Right?
So I just want to thank everybody for coming out. This is a big moment for Rutherford. It just shows you the town we have from the past to the future. I'd like to thank our councilwoman, Roberson, for putting this all together, and our committee, and our historian. I think Councilman Lay has a few words he'd like to say.
Before you start, Tom, could I ask Tino to come over so we can unveil this thing?
Oh, absolutely.
Sure. Take that side, I'll take this side. There it is, folks.
We'd also like to thank you for putting this on your lawn on behalf of the It's a pleasure. Very honored. Very happy to be part of the community. We're very happy to have you. It's your house.
It is your house on your property.
If we can get weather like this in February, we'll have to do these more often. So congratulations, and we're honored to be here today to remember the contributions of the Hoage family in Rutherford. And we encourage everyone to take a moment to reflect on how hard Lafayette and Harriet worked to make their way to Rutherford. The fact that they chose to raise their family here illustrates that this community was as special then as it is now. We'd all like to thank the Historic Preservation Committee for making this plaque come to fruition, and for their dedication to educating the public about Rutherford's great history. So thank you, and hope everybody has a really great weekend.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
So thank you all for coming today, and the really important fact that I learned from Rod is that Lafayette Hoage was the first enslaved man to own a house in Rutherford. And can you imagine being born as a slave and being able to bring your family and own a house and grab the American dream? And imagine, I'm here now, and he opened the door for so much diversity in this town. And I'm so grateful. So sometimes we don't realize the impact of our actions for generations to come. So thank you all for being here, and I'm so honored that the Hoage family planted their first home in our town. Thank you.
I'm just honored that we're doing this. I think it's fantastic. The Guitar Committee, the Historic Preservation, just does such incredible work in this town. So thank you to everybody who was a part of today.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out. We really appreciate it.
We have the Civil Rights Commission.
As a member of both the Civil Rights Commission and a member of also the Historic Preservation Committee, I can say that it is a great honor to be a part of this partnership between these two groups in our town. The Civil Rights Commission in itself serves to protect many of the rights exercised by the Hoages, two of which are the right to vote as well as the right to own property, which has been mentioned here. And dedications like this, what they do is they demonstrate the power that these rights have to enable all of our town's citizens to live happily, respectfully, and peacefully within the town of Rutherford. So this collaboration between our two groups, the Historic Preservation Committee as well as the Civil Rights Commission, serves a lot of different purposes that fulfill this mission. It recognizes the contribution of a historically underrepresented racial minority to our town's history, and it also serves as a public reminder of the great heights that the citizens of Rutherford can climb in a safe and inclusive environment. Thank you.
Speaking next for the Historic Preservation Committee is its chairman, Ed Gaida.
Thank you all for coming today on this beautiful day for this beautiful event. My name is Ed Gaida, as Rod said. I am the chairman of the Historical Preservation Committee, and it is one of the goals of the Historical Preservation Committee to identify and hopefully honor the places, the events, and the people who in the past have made Rutherford what it is today, just a great place to live. And today is a perfect example of that mission kind of being accomplished. I want to thank the mayor, the council, and his staff for their continuous support of what our committee does, and it is very much appreciated. I'd like to Councilwoman who's a new member of our committee, and she is acting as our liaison between the HPC, Historical Preservation Committee, and the mayor and the council. And I am looking very forward to working with her. She is a great addition. Lauren, who spoke just previous, is also a new member of the committee, and she has volunteered to be the new recording secretary, which is, again, very much appreciated. I want to thank the homeowners, and your wife, Wanda, for allowing us to do this here today. If you have not read or know about the Hoage family, it is something worth your time to read about. It's an amazing story, and it should not be forgotten. They are tremendous. So again, I just want to thank everyone for coming out today, and please keep the history of Rutherford in the back of your minds all the time. And thanks again. And now I'm going to pass it on to Rod, who's our Borough Historian, who was very instrumental in putting this together. Thank you.
I'll say hello again to everyone. I think it's wonderful that you're all out here today to join with us with this dedication of this plaque. I'm not going to make a long speech. Many of you have probably read some of the things that I've written about the Hoage family, but there's a couple of things I do want to say. You know, anyone who tells this story is fortunate that the pieces are all there. All you have to do is consider the history of this wonderful family, and it's a story that almost tells itself. I think there's a couple of human elements to it that need to be mentioned. This all began in 1863 when Lafayette Hoage and Alonzo Mabbett met in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Alonzo had been brought there because he was severely injured, life-threatening injuries from a battle at Port Hudson. He was brought to Baton Rouge. There was a hospital there. The details of why Lafayette was there at that time are not very clear, but nevertheless we do know that they met. That Lafayette took Carrie to Alonzo Mabbett, and basically is credited with saving his life. And I want to read something that Alonzo's great-grandson wrote to me about those circumstances. This is Arthur Mabbett. He lives in Rochester, and he could not be here today. On behalf of the entire Mabbett family, Beverly, his wife, and I express sincere gratitude to the Historical Society for their kind invitation to attend this event, to visit the Hoage residence and meet the Hoage family. To be part of a living history is an honor, especially as related to the Hoage Mabbett history. Captain Alonzo Al Mabbett would have likely never have survived the trip from Louisiana back to Rochester, New York, without Mr. Hoage's caring and companionship. The relationship they developed during the challenging time of the United States speaks so eloquently of the kindness of man, regardless of race, ethnic origin, or belief. The Mabbett family played an important role in the abolition of slavery, and they were a big part of the Underground Railroad. And so for Mr. Hoage to in fact save the life of a Union Army hero, Captain Alonzo L. Mabbett, is a most astonishing historical event. How appropriate, considering the background. These are the words of the great-grandson of Alonzo Mabbett. They did come together there in Rochester. Lafayette had been brought there by Captain Mabbett. Harriet was born in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and She ended up in Rochester. The two met. They were married in the African American Methodist Episcopal Church, Zion Church in Rochester, the church of Harriet Tubman. And they got an invitation, and I believe it came from David Iverson, to come to Rutherford. Lafayette was a trained horseman, and he was a coachman. And he came here and was employed by the Iversons as their coachman. He later opened up his own business and was a coachman. His barn, where he kept his horse and wagon, is in good shape in the rear of this house. So they met and came to Rutherford, and they had 7 children. Unfortunately, their youngest, Rutherford Hoage, did not survive. He died when he was about 3 years old. That's another part of this human interest story that I want to say. The Hoages named their first child Lillian. Mabbetts had their first daughter was named Lillian. The Hoages' last child, they wanted to name in honor of the town that had welcomed them. They named him Rutherford. There was a number of names that they chose. One of their daughters named their son Lafayette. One of their sons, Harriet and Lafayette's sons, is named George Lafayette Hoage. Another son was named David Iverson Brinkerhoff Hoage, so you can understand where that name came from. So the reason I'm mentioning is that it resonates. It resonates in the sense of appreciation, gratitude, loyalty. That speaks greatly of this family. When they celebrated their 50th anniversary in 1917, it was said of them that they were a family of integrity, and that is so true. And the last of their children, Lillian Florence Hoage, lived in this house until 1935. She was the last. She was the last Hoage to occupy. That was a long run when you consider that the house was built around 1872 and she was still in it in 1935. Since then, there have been, as far as I can tell, about 6 owners. And the sixth of those owners is the Mabbetts. And I want to take this opportunity to especially thank Tina Mabbett for allowing us to place this plaque in his front lawn. This plaque hopefully will stay here for a while. And people who come to Rutherford and hear about the Hoage family can come down Donaldson Avenue and see this lovely plaque, which the other thank you I have here today is for Tom DiMiola, who I don't see today, but Tom is the one who's responsible for designing and installing this plaque. He did a wonderful job, and I want to thank him and Tino. Thank you all once again for being here.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.